Welcome to the Pitch Strike Chronicles, and the season has come to an end, and the playoffs will be beginning. Yankees finished with 99 wins in the year of the judge, as I will be calling it. We will be breaking it all down and what we expect for the postseason roster to look like right here on Pitch Strike Chronicles. And welcome to the Pitch Strike Chronicles. I am Chess. I am here with Rob. And Rob, doesn't it seem a little fitting for this season to finish with 99 wins?
Yeah, I said that yesterday. I said maybe we shouldn't win this last game so we can get to 99, considering he's the one who put us on his back all year. So I think it's fitting that the guy wearing number 99 is the guy that carried us, and that's how many wins we finished with. So now we get ready for October.
Yeah, it almost seems like fate. So, we have our first comment. Nick wants to know, did I see Cabrera playing some smooth ass silk shortstop this week? He's a very good shortstop. I think he's going to be the shortstop next year if they don't have Volpe. But I also would rather see Cabrera.
You mean Peraza?
So you're talking about Peraza or Cabrera for shortstop?
You got to be talking about Peraza because Cabrera has been playing the outfield almost exclusively, and he's been playing that really well. But Peraza has looked fantastic.
Peraza's played fantastic shortstop. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, and Cabrera, I think that's going to be your left field. He looks so comfortable there. He's very effective in that position. So I would not move him around too much. But I want to get to the postseason roster. I think that's really where everybody's gonna be breaking down. Yeah, we lost the game yesterday, whatever. It is what it is. But for your outfield, we'll try to break it down a little at a time. For your outfield, who would you prefer? We all know who it's going to be, but let's talk about it anyway. I think it's going to be left field Cabrera, center field Bader, and right field will be Judge. Good morning, Tony Clark. So, do you think that's how they're just going to keep everything status quo with the outfield alignment?
Kind of have to, right? I mean, there's really no other options unless you decide that you want to play Locastro, but he would only be a bench option. You're not playing Marwin Gonzalez out there. You damn sure can't put Aaron Hicks out there. So you got to roll with your best outfield, which is what we've been doing. Cabrera, Bader, Judge. It's the best outfield we've had in a very long time. So
yeah, I don't even have Hicks on my roster right now.
I agree. I wouldn't have him on the roster. He will be on the roster, but I wouldn't have him on the roster.
I think that would be a mistake to put him on the roster. On my bench instead of Hicks, I do have Gonzalez because he can play. He can play a variety of positions if needed.
So, what is Benintendi and Carpenter's status?
Benintendi is ALCS at best, and Carpenter, they're still waiting to see how his swings go. They got 4 or 5 days until the first round, so he could make it. I'm not banking on it though. I would say at best he could make it as a pinch hitter, but right now it's still up in the air. I don't have him on my roster because I'm just unsure about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I have him as with a question mark next to it, just because we know that Benintendi is not going to be available for the LCS, for the LDS. But Carpenter is still a very slight possibility. So I did want to keep him into the fold, so I knew I had the roster spots accounted for. But the infield alignment, I think, is going to be a little more interesting. And the way I have it constructed for myself is first base Rizzo, second base Torres, shortstop is Peraza, third base is LeMahieu. So that's how I have my defensive alignment in the infield. Was there anything in there you would change or not?
I think that's what they should roll with. It's purely matchup based, I think, with LeMahieu and Donaldson at this point because they can't sit Torres, and they're probably going to go with IKF, although they should go with Peraza. But I think Peraza will make the roster, which because they've used him a lot and he's just continuing to hit over this last week. So that's still, to me, they're giving it to IKF. But infield wise, I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's just a matter of who they want to put at third on that whatever day it is, Donaldson or DJ.
Yeah, I think it's gonna flip flop on that. I have Peraza as shortstop only because when you're talking about playoff baseball, the competition is it's escalated. It's not like a regular season game, and you want to have your best defense available, especially in the shortstop position. So, to take it to take winning seriously, you have to put Peraza in the shortstop.
Donald?
I completely agree with the alignment. Yeah, DJ third. I would have for sure Peraza play short. Torres second. He's absolutely 100% going to be playing second base. Rizzo first. You've got versatility in LeMahieu, and you've got versatility in Cabrera in case you need to mix and match at any point. So I like those two guys as versatile options. But I think that would be my alignment. You've got IKF and Josh Donaldson there as well. Now we know how it's going to work out. We know it's going to be Donaldson at third. We know IKF's going to play shortstop. But I think the ideal would be Peraza because he is phenomenal. Look at his numbers, man. He's batting well over 300. Yep. His OPS was in the 890s. He's shown the smoothest defense, beautiful range, beautiful arm, just absolute perfection there. And the Yankees look to continue to find excuses not to play him. That doesn't make any sense, and it will never make sense to me. Just considering IKF, the scores are 100% taking bungs from Brian Cashman, man, because he should have 15 more errors than he actually has. IKF, he has been terrible, but it is what it is. I really hope that the Yankees don't sacrifice Peraza. I have a feeling that they might, but I would have it as it is, man. I think what you said right there is spot on. Cabrera can play versatile. He can play in the outfield. He can play the infield. I don't really see any reason why Aaron Hicks should be on the roster.
No, my obviously DH is Stanton paired with Donaldson, depending on if Donaldson's playing third. So there's there is some mix and match that can go on and keep the team at top, competitiveness. They can still compete at a high level depending on how they do manage it. But on the bench, I have IKF, Donaldson, and Gonzalez. I do have Carpenter as a question mark still.
What is up, Alex?
Yep. How's it been, Alex? So
who would you have, Alex? Who would you have in your alignment? Would you have Peraza playing short? Who would you have in the outfield? Be interested to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, definitely. But do you think that's the proper way to construct a bench is because you still have a little bit of Pop and Donaldson you could plug in. You also have two speed guys that you could bring in as pinch runners towards the end of the game, and Higashioka.
Yeah, again, it's all going to be matchup based. The people that you can't take out of the lineup are Stanton and Judge and Rizzo and Trevino, Torres. I mean, I still don't trust LeMahieu 100% yet. So if they have to sit him in favor of Donaldson, I wouldn't mind. IKF should be on the bench as a backup, but he's probably going to start, which means Peraza's that defensive replacement and speed guy late in the game. I could see Locastro making the roster as well over Marwin because he's the fastest guy on the roster, so they can use that. And again, the injury to Benintendi and the injury to Carpenter really doesn't really put a wrench in things, but it makes it a little more interesting because if Benintendi was here, then we know Marwin doesn't make it, and if Carpenter's here, we know that Peraza doesn't make it. So it's really just a matter of health, and we don't really have that pop off the bench. So if Carpenter was here for the series, that would help a lot.
Yeah, the thing with Gonzalez is just, for my reasoning, what is his versatility around the field, both infield and outfield. So I think that gives him a lot more value over some of the other guys that could be on the bench.
I just don't see any reason why you'd have Marwin Gonzalez if you go DJ LeMahieu and Cabrera are that they can basically play anywhere. So there's not really any reason why you'd have Marwin Gonzalez on the roster in that case. I think Alex is spot on here. Trevi Rizzo, Torres, DJ on the bench, IKF at third. Well, I mean, I would have DJ at third and IKF on the bench. Peraza at short, Cabrera center, Beta center. Right? Okay, that's fine. No, I agree with that. Apart from, I would play DJ LeMahieu over IKF for sure. Would love to have a right-handed and a left-handed bat on the bench and one solid pinch runner. IKF would be a perfect pinch runner. Yeah. Peraza is actually faster and a better base runner. To be honest, Peraza is better than IKF in every way, shape, and form. Better base runner, better hitter, better defensively. There's really not a weakness there. It's like, it's crazy.
Put it this way. IKF is exactly what they wanted Tyler Wade to be. And that's fine because they wanted Tyler Wade to be a super utility guy that can run and just hit for contact. IKF is that guy, and he's a perfect player to have on your bench. I never once said I hated IKF. I just don't want him starting at shortstop every day when you have the clear better player right there sitting on your roster in Peraza.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. You pass, like we talked about pretty much throughout the whole season. You passed up on all those top end shortstops because of your future was just about ready. Well, Peraza's here now. Volpe is he's a half step behind him. So why would you bank your postseason on a guy that you really didn't need to begin with? So you see what Peraza's been able to do. I would be able to handle it a lot better if there were mistakes with Peraza than IKF. I think it's an easier pill to swallow, as painful as it will be.
Just roll with Peraza. You can't lose much with that. You're gaining much more defensively because IKF's issue is the simple plays he struggles with. He can make the tough, easy plays look tough. You can't have that in October.
No.
Ball's right in front of him. Eat him alive. And you can't have that in the playoffs.
The truth is there's no upside to playing IKF at shortstop. There's none because he shouldn't be the shortstop next year. If you give Peraza their job, then the only thing you're going to gain is experience with him. And he's going to give you the upside, and then you already have a leg up on your plans for next year. You can then go, right, well, we don't really need to go and invest like 25, 30 million on Correa if we've got a shortstop who already killed it this year, who we just called up. So, it saves you $30 million, and it gives you a leg up on your plans for the offseason. Plus, you just get a better player right there. There's no upside to playing IKF because if IKF struggles, which he probably will, then all they're going to do is leave themselves in the hole going, right, who are we going to put at shortstop? Or then they're going to have to sell to the fan base, oh no, IKF is the guy, and the fan base is going to blow up at them. So that's why there's really no upside, considering how bad IKF is at shortstop, no matter what Aaron Boone tells you. And whatever Brian Cashman tells you, don't listen to them because you just look at your eyes. Your eyes can tell you how good a shortstop he is. He's not very good.
No,
my fear, not really a fear, but the fact they've been playing Peraza at second base tells me that they want Volpe to be the guy at short, which is why they won't play Peraza, even though Peraza is clearly better at shortstop than he is at second base. And Volpe can easily slide over to second or third if needed. He's that versatile. So I don't know what they're going to do. I know they're going to play IKF, but it should be Peraza. This has been a debate we've been having since the trade deadline. It's not going to end now until the season's over. So we just got to accept it for what it is. Every fan out there knows it should be Peraza, but the Yankees are smarter than everybody apparently. So it has to be IKF. Yeah. They can't be
so
wrong.
Let's get stuck into the bullpen because it's more of a prevalent issue right now, Tats.
Yeah, so I have the four starters, which will lead into why the bullpen is the way it is. I have Cole, Nestor, Sevy, and Tyone as my four starting pitchers. Right. That's why. So I have Herman along with Schmidt, Efros, Loizaga, Peralta, Mariano, or Holmes, depending on who's the
Marinaccio? Do you mean Did you call him Mariano? I wish we had Mariano, man.
It's the accent. Don't fool it. I'm not that bad.
You did say there,
Holmes, depending if Marinaccio is healthy enough.
He's not. They've already announced he's not making it
Not
for the
going to make
DS.
it. Right.
No.
So you would go Holmes, and then the one guy I don't want on there, but they're going to freaking use him is Chapman.
You've missed a few spots, it seems like, because how many?
Yeah, it's not a full.
Okay, so I'm with you on the rotation. I think Herman is better out of the bullpen than Tyone because we have never seen Tyone out of the bullpen. But did you mention Trevino on your list?
Oh, Trevino, I do have him on.
Yeah, and I also got Licky, and it's either one of Chapman or Castro, which is probably the guy that you just don't use, but he has to fill up a roster spot. It's got to be one of those two. Yeah, Marinaccio's injury is killing us.
Yeah, that's a killer. That is a killer.
Yeah, it's almost like that 300 injury monster in the bullpen because you lost, Chad Green at the beginning of the year. We lost King in the middle of the year, and now, now we lose, Marinaccio in the end of the year. It's like, come on, we can't catch a break with this bullpen, and that's the only reason why Chapman's been able to survive all his disastrous outings.
He shouldn't have even survived those. He hasn't been good at all. And I've mentioned it like last week or earlier this week. His early season success was helped by a bunch of guys saving his ass out of the bullpen earlier this year. So he's been pitiful from start to finish. And the fact that he's still here tells me all I need to know about Brian Cashman.
Yeah, I have no trust.
When they tried Zach Britton, that didn't work. He got hurt.
He was the other one. I'm like, Chapman
gets the win and he gets hurt.
I don't know how you can trust Chapman. I really don't.
You can't. It's either if, like I said, Castro and Chapman or Chapman, one of them's getting a spot. It'll probably be Chapman because they haven't let him go yet. And he's a guy that you cannot use. You have to find a way to make sure that Peralta, Trevino, Efros, Holmes, hopefully Holmes is pitching well, and Loaizaga can get you big outs. And maybe it's Clark Schmidt who steps up in those late inning roles because he's a guy that can eat multiple innings. Someone has to step up because if you go in a 1 or 2 run game and you put a Aroldis Chapman into it, you're begging to lose that game. And they cannot afford to mess with anything. This is not a time to say, well, you look pretty good in your last outing. Let's see if you can match that because we know he can't. He looks good one day, and the next day he comes out and throws a pitch 30 feet to the backstop. So you can't have that in October. Don't use him. Put him on the roster, but don't use him. Just let him sit there and let him rot, and he'll be gone after the season.
I mean, Cashman had, was it like $40 million combined with Britton and Aroldis Chapman? Yeah, it's a terrible use of resource. It's a terrible use of resource. It really is. But, okay, so in this scenario, this is going to be a bit of an anomaly this year because normally we have a strong bullpen but a not so strong rotation. Now it's the other way around. We've got a very strong rotation. I trust all 4 guys that you mentioned to some varying levels, but I have no trust in our bullpen. Although I do think that we have a ton of quality arms, like if you named a bunch of them, Clark Schmidt, Trevino, Efros, all quality arms. Holmes on his day can pitch. Loaizaga particularly. They can all pitch on their day, but all of them are prone to a meltdown. So you don't want to get into these bullpen matchups. You don't want to have a situation where Garrett Cole really struggles, or Trevino, or Tyone really struggles, and then you have to go like 6 innings out of your bullpen. If that happens, then you're toast because we don't have the kind of strength in which we can do like an opener, which we did maybe in previous years. We can't really do that this year. We don't have a closer. Don't really have a setup, man. So it's all going to be kind of mix and match. And those are the kind of things which worry me because Aaron Boone has never shown a proclivity to manage the bullpen very well. So we really need our starting rotation to ball out. If they do their job, then I can semi-trust 2-3 innings out of that bullpen. Any more than that? No.
Yeah, you're right. Chapman can be the secret weapon for who? Alcatraz? And
No,
Nikki mentioned something interesting here.
That needs to be flipped. That
The
needs to be flipped.
play-by-play guys mentioned using Severino to close a game. If that game landed on a day, he would normally throw a bullpen. That's interesting because what did the Nationals do that a few years ago, right? When they won the World Series, they had to use Scherzer and Corbin out of the bullpen. I'm not saying it's going to come down to that, but having Herman there, a guy you know can start,
yeah.
but Sevy's looked so good. I don't know if anyone's coming out of the bullpen, it's going to be Cole in those games. That's a great point that Nikki brought up there, though, but I don't know. They have to figure this out. You got to pray that Holmes is pitching well. And you got to – it's those 3-4 guys we mentioned yesterday, like Loaizaga, Holmes, Efros, Trevino. Someone's got to step up.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. I mean, actually, as I was saying a couple of weeks ago, I thought Severino had the best stuff to close games. He's got that power fastball. I think it could work really well, but it's not completely out of the realms of possibility because let's think about the Diamondbacks when they beat the Yankees in the World Series in 2001. They just rode Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling. They basically pitched the entire 7-game series, out of the bullpen and starting, whatever it took. They were the only 2 people that they had in their entire ball club, and it was enough. They just rode them. So maybe Aaron Boone does that with Garrett Cole and Severino. I don't know.
No, that's why I had Herman in the bullpen rather than Sevy, because I didn't want it to seem like I was taking away from what Herman was able to do this year. He was very solid. Let's be honest. When healthy, Severino is better than Cole. On occasion, you could make that case, but it's a hard one to really hard statement to lock on to.
This year, probably.
Yeah.
This year, I don't know about.
Not in general. I mean,
healthy. Let's not forget, healthy Severino was something special. Like the injuries derailed this guy's career. Unfortunately, but 3 years he missed off of what was looking like a complete ace. He was going to be that homegrown ace that everyone wanted to see, but injuries just prevented that. But better than Cole. Man, Cole at his best, and he's like a top 5 pitcher. So I don't know if Sevy's there, but I do love Sevy.
When healthy, absolutely, he's got the stuff. It's not a question of stuff with Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole's stuff is as good as, or if not better than DeGrom's right now. It's just his he loses concentration, and then it all kind of blows up on him. So that's what Garrett Cole's drawback is.
Yeah, but I do like I do like Cole over Herman over Severino in the bullpen, only because we've used Herman in that role before. So it's not something that's going to be new to him where he's got to readjust the way he thinks about it. And I think that he can handle it very well without it really affecting his ability to start. It won't affect him being able to prepare to go longer in the game. If you need him to go, there's a rough outing, you have Herman to bring in, that's your safety net to get a game under you, where you can bring him in to pitch, 3 innings, and give your bullpen rest.
They have a couple of guys, fortunately, that can do that. So if Herman had to start and they wanted to use Sevy out of the bullpen, if let's say that Sevy's start in game 2 or 3, whatever it is, he only goes 4 because maybe he threw a lot more pitches, or I don't know, they have a big lead, then you can maybe use him late in the game in a bullpen scenario. But Herman could easily start for you, and Herman could also give you 3-4 innings like you just mentioned. Clark Schmidt can give you 3-4 innings like you did, so they have options, and they have guys that can be filthy. Like Trevino's been our best guy for the last couple of months. Efros right behind him. Schmidt's been really good out of the bullpen, especially.
Yeah. I think Schmidt and Loaizaga are actually our X factors out of the bullpen.
Yeah, they have the guys. It's just who's going to be where, and they got to figure that out because you can't be put the puzzle together in October and expect to win.
Prior to Schmidt being wrongly sent down to AAA, he was off to a tremendous start in our bullpen. He was like a lockdown reliever. So once we started messing around with him, that's when he started to lose his effectiveness a little bit. So, but out of the bullpen at the start of the year, he was locked down, so he can do that. Loaiza post All-Star break's been locked down, so those two are the X factors for me because they can give you length and quality innings. Holmes is the wild card. I don't know what we're going to get from Holmes. If Holmes can get his power sinker located, then we're okay. If not, then we're screwed.
Yeah.
So you guys want to face the Indians, correct? Tampa is too legit. I don't want to. Do you know what? I've made the mistake in the past going, oh, I want this team, and then when we face them, we lose. So it's we'll take it whatever happens. If it's Tampa Bay or Cleveland, fine. I'm not gonna go and say, oh, I really want this team because it could inevitably blow up on our face.
Remember when they were gonna have it where you could choose who you played against? Remember that nonsense they tried throwing out there?
Wasn't that for the top seed? So like Houston would be like, we want to play that would.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't do that because you're asking for trouble on that one. Because no, I'm with you, Donald. I don't like to. I'd rather face it. No, I just want to beat whoever we go against. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah, they're both tough competition because Cleveland's pitching is really good and they got some guys that can hit, especially against a home run pitcher like Cole. They can give up, he can give up a couple. So they got some pop. Jose Ramirez is no joke, obviously. And they're angry still for what happened back in the Bronx in April or whatever it was. So maybe they want to play the Yankees. Tampa Bay knows the Yankees very well. These are not good matchups for us. None of these teams would be, even if it was Seattle or Toronto. None of these teams are good matchups for us. It's just hopefully the Yankees are better.
It's really, when you look at the whole season overall, where they started and how, we came out like we were invincible, and then as the season progressed, you started to see all the holes start to show again, and they were able to get into the postseason. It's not to say that they can't have a solid run, but it's going to be extremely competitive. I don't think there's going to be an easy series anywhere.
I think they can take the whole. I think they can win the whole thing. I'll say that right now. I do think we can win the whole thing, but it's going to come down to the bullpen. If the bullpen gets figured out, they are a very, very strong team. Because Donald mentioned we have the starting pitching. It's probably the best rotation we've had going into October in a while. The offense should, because it's relatively healthy, the offense should be able to put up good numbers. It's just about that bullpen because there's going to be close games. This is October pitching. You're facing the best of the best out there. You're going to struggle to score runs, even though our offense should be able to put some good at-bats together, whatever it may be. You're going to have those games that end 3-2, 3-1, 4-3, something like that, and you need a good bullpen. That's been our strength in the past. Now it's a bit of a weakness. But we have the guys. If the bullpen figures it out, I think it's ours for the taking. We got to get past Houston. We got to win, of course, but I do think we have enough to go make a World Series run.
I think we have enough to get to the ALCS. I don't think there's any excuse not to make the ALCS. Any further than that, I'm skeptical, to be honest, with our injury history. And plus the way that we've performed in the playoffs over the last 10 years, barring 1 or 2 years, we've largely underachieved. So I need to see it to believe it, but we've got the quality. We've got it. It's right there. Aaron Judge's incredible year, plus Stanton and Rizzo. Bader's been a good acquisition. I think he's going to be fine. We've got young talent, and we've got the rotation. Yeah, we can make the ALCS. Very worried about a World Series, though, against the Dodgers or the Braves. I don't think we're capable of matching up with them. But Houston, I still give Houston the edge at the moment, and because they've not once shown me they're capable of beating Houston. If we can do it, then great. But if not, then I have to be skeptical. So I think that there's no excuse not to make the ALCS. I'd be very disappointed if we don't.
No, I think I'm with Raw. I think that the fact is going to be the bullpen, because I think the one thing on the offensive side that we have this year that we have not had in a while is contact hitting. We have guys that can put the ball in play, that are not just swinging for to hit it over the fence. We're not relying on the home run ball. So I think that's going to be a really big factor with the offense. Where Cabrera, Torres, even like KF at times. you can rely on to just get that ball into the gap.
Yep. No, if it comes down to it, I think the X factor in the order, it's not going to be. We know who our big bats are. I said it yesterday, but it's going to come down to the bottom of the order: Trevino, Bader, whoever the heck is batting 8th or ninth. If it's Peraza or IKF, those are the guys you got to look for to get big hits at the bottom of the order. Because I have a feeling that Trevino is going to have a big hit this October that we're going to remember for a long time.
Right.
I think if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be him. And then Bader, we've seen already, is a guy that can hit. And like you said, get contact, get on base, and he's fast. Let's not forget that. We got speed too. We got some contact, but we got speed now. And that's something we have not had in a while. So that can really play well as something that we have not been able to do.
But let's get to Elliot here. hit the button, Donald. Hit the button. All right, so honestly, I feel good about the Yankees. I do see them succeeding and getting to the World Series. Yeah, I think a lot of people are feeling confident about this team. I really do, and I don't think that where a lot of people are on the page with Donald saying, Houston's going to be a problem. It's also, you got to be realistic too, because he's right. Everything runs to Houston for us. That's going to be our challenge. They think that's what's going to drive us absolutely insane. And you got to hope that maybe that's even if the Astros don't, fall apart. Not that we've seen them able to do it, but it's nothing's. They still have to play the games in the LDS. There's no guarantee that they're going to make it through.
I think Rob is on to something about Seattle. I don't think we match up well with Seattle. Not with them getting Castillo. It's kind of put them over the top a little bit. They don't have the offense that we do, but they've got the pitching. And pitching wins championships. So that's another one. Seattle kind of beat our doors in a little bit during the regular season, as did Houston. So I don't think it's a lock, but I don't think there's any excuse for us not to win the first round. Absolutely no excuse. No. If we don't get through the DS, then there's some serious questions need to be asked about this organization. Get to the CS, anything can happen.
Yeah. Now, if in the LDS, if they don't get through, do you think it? I think it would be fall more on the bullpen. Because I'm sticking firmly with Rob on it. It's going to be the bullpen that either gets us through or really hurts us.
Well, I think we've all agreed on that. So there's nothing that.
No, we know that's the key. It's the bullpen. I disagree actually with Tony Clark here when he says that IKF hasn't done anything of consequence. He's been very good with runners in scoring position this year. He's had some big hits for us, so I will give him that. Do I still think he should be starting? No. I don't think he should be starting over Peraza, but I will disagree that he's had some big hits for us this year.
And we get to Tony's other comment here. So he thinks that the Rays-Yankees series would be very tough. If I'm on the Yankees, I want to play Cleveland. I think either team is going to be a tough play. I really do. I don't think there's a clear-cut path through any of these teams. It's going to be a dogfight. I think we're going to see a very competitive road to the World Series from the American League. The National League's a different story. The Dodgers are just that's almost unfair.
Anyone can win in October. Yeah. That's the thing. I know it's the overused, it's the cliche thing to say when you get to October, anything can happen, but it's true. So we may not look like a good matchup against Houston, but who knows? This year could be different. I'm praying it is if we do play them. I'm assuming we will play Houston if we get there, because I just don't know if anyone can beat them. That's how good they are. But when we do play them, maybe it's different this year. It needs to be, because if we play them again and lose to them again, it's like they become our kryptonite, and they already are. So we need to beat that. We need to beat them. So that's really the goal right now, is to get past the first round, assume you're playing Houston, and go out there and beat the crap out of them, which is the ideal scenario. Get to the World Series and win the whole damn thing. That's what we all want. It has to happen first. We can easily sit here on our chairs and behind the cameras and say the Yankees are going to win the whole thing. They got to go out there and do it. I just hoping things are different this year. I've been positive all year, or most of the year, except for the summer.
There's no question about it.
I'm gonna keep my positivity up there. Hopefully it works. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
I agree with Elliot that they are a very cohesive unit. A good mix of veterans and young players. Yeah, I agree with that. I think the mix is better this year than in previous years, and I'm more optimistic this year than I was going into in the past few years. So for sure, we've got a little better balance in terms of offense and defense and speed, which we didn't have in previous years. So I think it does stand us in good stead. We've got the bullets to do it. We really do.
Yeah, I think this team is more, put together well. Like Ellie said, use the word cohesive. I think that they have fixed a lot of the issues that's been kind of hurting them in the past. Solid rotation, check. We have that. People playing in their right, in the proper positions on the field, with the exception of IKF, we have that. But we also have the contact hitters. Where in the past in the postseason we were unable to get that big hit with runners on. We have players that can do that now with confidence when they go up to the plate. We know that they can put something together. Speed on the bases is another factor. So everything seems to be there except for your closer. That's your question mark, your closer role. But if that's the only question mark, I think that's as good as we've gotten in a long time in the postseason.
It's a pretty big question mark, though. I mean,
yeah, it is.
It's a pretty big. It's the whole back end of the bullpen's a question mark. We have, like you said it already ad nauseum. We have the guys who is pitching where. So you got to figure it out. So these next 5 days, Boone's really got to figure it out. Who am I going to? Because you can't play this merry-go-round of matchups in October. You just can't do it unless you absolutely have no choice and guys get hurt or something like that. Knock on wood, they don't. But you got to figure it out. I think Efros is your best guy for the ninth inning right now, and Loaizaga should set him up. I think that's your best 1-2 punch, and Trevino can be your seventh, and Peralta maybe in the sixth. That's got to be it because you can't trust Holmes. He's done nothing to give you that trust right now. Hopefully he can find it again, but right now you got to go with your best guys at the back end, and those four are your best guys.
No, yeah, Tony's right. It does. If you can't close the games, that's going to be your biggest Achilles heel. Yeah, Efros, I think, is going to be the closer. I think that he's the one that's shown that he can handle it. He was thrown in there the other day. He didn't even, when you never want to have some, the manager go, all right, well, you're coming in the ninth, and they go, wait, me? You want, okay, let's go. Efros just seems to have that dog mentality where it's like, all right, if that's what you want me to do, I'll do it. And not question it, and he's still able to perform.
He's got the stuff to do it.
Yeah. Well, like you said, they all do. It's just, can they execute it? That's the problem. But I think that is going to wrap things up for us today. And we will not be having a show tomorrow. We will be back in full force on Monday. So make sure Sunday, though, you do check out the Upper Deck podcast with Lynn and Chris. They will be breaking down their thoughts of the final week of the season and talking about Aaron Judge's accomplishments and everything else in between. But you have been watching the Pitch Track Chronicles on Northeast Streaming Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, where you pinch out your pride and play hard.